Welcome back to Modifi Rising. I am Modifi, and in this video, we're going to be going over the energy of the planet Saturn in astrology. So it's about to get real. Saturn, the boss, the greater malefic, the outermost ring, the Celestial Taskmaster. Saturn is the one who restricts, setting obstacles, limitations, and boundaries. The orbit of Saturn itself actually functions as a boundary for all of the inner planets. Saturn also represents time, contracts, and binding. And just like the circle of Saturn, the rings of Saturn represent a binding contract. I don't have one though. As the greater malefic, Saturn represents the polarity of Jupiter as Jupiter expands and Saturn restricts. Saturn is also the challenger of the Sun. And when the Sun says yes, Saturn says nah. And now for Saturn's correspondances and dignities. Saturn is the ruler of two signs, Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn, with the motto I use, corresponds to Saturn in that of structure, strictness, discipline, and father-like energy. Aquarius, with the motto I know, corresponds to Saturn in that wisdom of that father time, father figure, father knows what's best. I know what's best for me and everyone else. Actually, I think Capricorns and Aquarius both carry that I told you so energy. However, we'll be going over that in the section on the signs. The symbol of Saturn is the symbol of alchemical lead. The color of Saturn is black. The day of the week corresponding to Saturn is Saturday, or as my mom says, Saturday. The tarot card corresponding to Saturn is the world, because the physical world is bound, just like the planets, within the circle, obstacles, and limitations of Saturn. On the Kabbalistic tree of life, Saturn corresponds to the Sephiroth Binah, representing understanding. Through Saturn, this understanding is foundational for who you are to become in life. You see, the tree of life functions as a circuit of polarized energy, both negative and positive. And Binah is the final circuit of this cycle. Saturn represents cycles, karma. You see, Saturn is not merciful. Binah is on the pillar of severity. It is not on the pillar of mercy. Saturn makes you pay. Saturn brings the consequences. The further you get off of your path in life, the harder Saturn will correct you. Some of you might be familiar with the term Saturn Return. This is how Saturn represents karma. Return meaning that it takes approximately 30 years for Saturn to return to the place it was in your chart when you were born. This can be a very troublesome time for most people. And it is during this time, your Saturn return, that Saturn will force you to deal with the shit that you have done and to deal with that which limits you, and to deal with the obstacles and the restrictions you have placed on yourself or the world has placed upon you. All of the things keeping you from pursuing that which is in your heart center in life and fulfilling your purpose. This is the time to fuck around and find out how tough you really are. Saturn demands it. It is unavoidable. So basically, grow up or Saturn will force you to. But you know, Saturn does get a bad rep. Saturn wants you to win, but Saturn also wants you to earn it. Saturn wants you to prove yourself. Saturn sets the limitations and sets the boundaries for you to push through for your benefit. Because without those limitations, we would aimlessly coast and drift through life. So you either beat the boss or you run the risk of being caught in the black sun. The catastrophic L, symbolizing a loss of the battle between the sun and Saturn, between the internal and the external, allowing the obstacles and limitations of Saturn to keep you trapped in the cycle, to keep you trapped in the loop, to keep you trapped in a space of scarcity and limitations surrounding the sun. Saturn is the judge. Saturn will challenge you. And it's in your sun that you will find the energy to step up to the challenge. The sun is the ruler of Leo, with the motto, I will. I will step up to the challenge. The sun is exalted in Aries, motto being I am. I am and I will be stepping up to this challenge. Saturn can be your greatest enemy or your greatest ally. And depending on where Saturn falls in your chart will indicate where you will have to work the hardest in life. Without Saturn, without these limitations, we would just drift aimlessly through life. We would coast. Nothing would be achieved. Nothing to fight for, nothing to fight against, nothing to push through. Saturn's not all that bad, just a little misunderstood. And now for some keywords for the energy of the planet Saturn. Authority, banish, binding, boundaries, contracts, decrease, fear, hidden, law and order, limitations, obligations, responsibility, restraint, restriction, status, structure, time, work and efforts. Thank you for watching this video on the energy of the planet Saturn in astrology. I hope that this has been an informative experience for you. Please consider joining me in the next section where we will be going over the signs of the zodiac and how each of the planets work within each of the signs. I am Modifi. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Maintain unswayed.